The Revolutionary Power of Rest, How Black Women Can Change the World by Doing Less. Welcome to the BlackCEO Podcast. Today, I'm thrilled to share with you some truly transformative insights I gained from interviewing LeAnne Dolce, the visionary founder of Wake Up Happy Sis. LeAnne is more than just a wellness expert. She's a revolutionary thinker who's challenging the very foundations of how we view success, productivity, and self-worth. For over a decade, she's been working tirelessly with high-achieving Black women on the brink of burnout, and her perspective isn't just timely. It's a radical call to action that has the power to reshape our communities and our world. Imagine this. It's 2025, and one of the most revolutionary acts a Black woman can commit is to deliberately rest, to intentionally do less, and to unapologetically prioritize her well-being above productivity. Let that sink in for a moment. In a world that constantly demands more from us, that tells us we need to work twice as hard to get half as far, the idea of rest as rebellion seems almost absurd, and yet that's precisely the point. We've internalized the message of constant hustle so deeply that even our self-care has become performative and productivity focused. We've turned rest into yet another item on our to-do list, something to be optimized and shared on social media as proof of our balance. But what if our true power, our real impact, comes not from doing more, but from being more intentional about what truly deserves our precious energy? This perspective matters now more than ever. In 2025, we're witnessing the continued aftermath of global events that have disproportionately impacted Black communities. Economic shifts, technological disruptions in the workplace, and our ongoing social justice movements have placed additional burdens on those who were already carrying far too much. Recent studies paint a stark picture. Black women continue to experience alarmingly higher rates of stress-related health conditions, with burnout reaching epidemic proportions in our communities. The superwoman schema, the deeply ingrained belief that Black women must project strength at all times, suppress emotions, resist vulnerability, and help others at the expense of self, is quite literally killing us. As the brilliant Dr. Thema Bryant recently noted, we've mistaken struggle for strength and exhaustion for excellence. This mindset has become so normalized, so woven into the fabric of our existence, that we often don't recognize how profoundly it's affecting us until we're in crisis. To truly understand the revolutionary nature of rest for Black women, we need to acknowledge its historical context. Our relationship with rest has deep, painful roots in the exploitation of Black bodies for labor. During slavery, Black women's bodies were viewed as machines of productivity, strong, resilient, and requiring minimal rest. This dehumanizing perspective didn't magically disappear with emancipation. It evolved, shape-shifting into new forms of oppression and expectation. Historian Dr. Brittany Cooper puts it brilliantly. The strong Black woman trope isn't just a stereotype, it's the residue of historical exploitation repackaged as a compliment. When we refuse rest, we're often unconsciously reinforcing the idea that our value lies in our utility to others. This historical trauma lives in our bodies. It's not just a concept or a theory, it's a physical reality. The chronic stress from constantly pushing beyond our limits triggers inflammatory responses that contribute to the stark health disparities we see in Black women. Higher rates of heart disease, hypertension, diabetes, and maternal mortality. LeAnne shared a powerful personal story that illustrates this point in a way that sent chills down my spine. Last year, she found herself in the emergency room, convinced she was having a heart attack. Her chest was tight, her left arm numb, and panic was setting in. After hours of comprehensive tests, the doctor delivered her diagnosis: severe anxiety and exhaustion. Her body was screaming what her mind had refused to acknowledge. She was utterly, completely depleted. She had been juggling multiple responsibilities, growing her business, supporting family members through serious health challenges, volunteering in her community, and maintaining a social media presence that showed her thriving through it all. She was the epitome of what we celebrate as strength and success in our community. But lying in that hospital bed, hooked up to monitors, she had to confront a painful truth. She had been betraying herself in the name of strength. She was modeling the very behavior that she cautioned others against. She was perpetuating the cycle that was slowly destroying her. This experience led LeAnne to redefine what revolutionary rest actually looks like. And let me tell you, it's not just about getting more sleep, though that's certainly part of it. It's about a fundamental shift in how we view ourselves and our place in the world. Revolutionary rest is about, first, giving ourselves permission to be human, acknowledging our limitations without shame or apology. It's about recognizing that vulnerability is not weakness, but a profound form of courage. Second, setting boundaries as a form of self-preservation, saying no without justification or guilt. It's about understanding that every yes to others is often a no to ourselves. Third, recognizing pleasure as our birthright, seeking joy not as a reward for productivity, but as essential nourishment for our souls. It's about understanding that we deserve happiness simply because we exist, not because we've earned it through struggle. Fourth, letting go of the rescue fantasy, understanding we don't have to save everyone and everything. It's about recognizing that our constant availability often enables systems of oppression to continue unchallenged. And fifth, redefining productivity, recognizing that healing, reflecting, and simply being are profoundly productive acts. It's about valuing the invisible internal work that doesn't show up on a resume, but transforms us from the inside out. This isn't the commercialized self-care that's been commodified and sold back to us in the form of bubble baths and scented candles. This is deeper, more disruptive work that challenges power structures that profit from our exhaustion and self-neglect. Now, I want to be clear. When you begin prioritizing rest, expect resistance, especially from yourself. Your inner critic, that voice that's internalized centuries of oppressive messaging, will call you selfish. It will tell you that you're letting people down, that you're not strong enough, that you're betraying your community. People who've benefited from your overextension, family members, colleagues, even friends, will question your commitment. They might accuse you of being changed or forgetting where you came from. Systems designed to extract maximum labor from you will try to shame you back into compliance. But here's the thing, and I need you to really hear this. This resistance is evidence that you're disrupting something powerful. When Black women collectively decide to honor our needs, to prioritize our well-being, it threatens systems built on our exploitation and self-sacrifice. It challenges the very foundations of a society that has taken our labor, both paid and unpaid, for granted for far too long. As the incomparable Audre Lorde powerfully stated, caring for myself is not self-indulgence, it is self-preservation, and that is an act of political warfare. In 2025, these words ring truer than ever. They're not just beautiful rhetoric. They're a call to arms in a battle for our very souls. When we embrace revolutionary rest, several profound transformations occur. Our health improves. Both physical and mental health markers show measurable improvement when we prioritize rest. We see reductions in cortisol levels, improvements in heart health, and decreased risk for a host of stress-related illnesses. Our creativity flourishes. The brain needs downtime to make novel connections and generate innovative ideas. Some of the most groundbreaking solutions to personal and societal challenges come not from constant grinding, but from allowing our minds the space to wander and wonder. Our relationships deepen. Being present rather than perpetually depleted allows for more authentic connection. We become better partners, friends, parents, and community members when we're not constantly running on empty. Our work gains focus. We become strategic rather than reactive, doing less but with greater impact. We learn to distinguish between busy work and meaningful contribution. Our boundaries strengthen. We learn to distinguish between urgency and importance, between others' emergencies and our priorities. We reclaim our time and energy for what truly matters. Our joy expands. We rediscover pleasures beyond productivity. We remember what it feels like to laugh without restraint, to play without purpose, to simply be without justification. And our example ripples. When we model balanced living, we give others permission to do the same. We become living proof that another way is possible. LeAnne shared an affirmation practice that has been transformative for her and many of her clients. I'd like to share it with you now, and I invite you to really lean into these words. I am worthy of rest. My value is not measured by my productivity. My existence is enough. My joy matters. My health is non-negotiable. My peace is essential. I release the need to prove my strength through suffering. Today, I choose myself. Take a moment right now, wherever you are, to repeat this to yourself. Place your hand on your heart if you can. Feel the truth of these words in your body. Notice the resistance that may arise, the voice that wants to argue or dismiss these affirmations. Breathe through that resistance. It's okay. It's part of the process. If this perspective resonates with you, if you feel a stirring in your soul that says, yes, this is what I've been needing, LeAnne suggests some initial steps towards revolutionary rest. First, conduct a responsibility audit. Take out a piece of paper and list everything you're responsible for at work, at home, in your community. Now, ask yourself these questions about each item. Does this still serve me? Can this be delegated? Can this be eliminated entirely? Be ruthlessly honest with yourself. Second, start with micro rest. Even 5-10 minutes of intentional rest throughout your day can begin shifting your nervous system. Set alarms on your phone if you need to. Step away from your desk, close your eyes, breathe deeply. These small moments add up. Third, create a stop doing list. We all have to-do lists, but what about a list of things to stop doing? Identify activities that drain more than they give and begin phasing them out. This might be saying no to that committee you joined out of guilt or letting go of a friendship that's become one-sided. Fourth, find your rest resistance. Notice when you feel guilty for resting and explore those feelings with curiosity rather than judgment. Where did you learn that rest was selfish? Who told you that your worth was tied to your productivity? Challenge these beliefs. Fifth, seek rest role models. Follow and learn from Black women who are modeling balanced living. Fill your social media feeds with voices that encourage rest and reject hustle culture. Surround yourself with people who value your well-being over your output. Sixth, normalize discussing boundaries. Practice phrases like, I'm not available for that, or that doesn't work for me, without over-explaining. Remember, the T, no, is a complete sentence. You don't owe anyone a justification for protecting your energy. And seventh, schedule joy. Put pleasure on your calendar with the same commitment as work obligations. Plan activities that nourish your soul, not just your resume. Make time for things that make you laugh, that awaken your sense of wonder, that remind you of the simple pleasures of being alive. This isn't just personal, it's deeply political. When Black women collectively refuse to be martyrs to productivity, we create ripple effects that have the power to transform our communities and our society. We challenge workplace cultures that reward burnout and presenteeism. We force conversations about work-life balance, about the true cost of constant availability. We model healthier relationships with achievement for younger generations. We show our children that their worth isn't tied to their accomplishments, that they are lovable and valuable simply because they exist. We demand systems that support rather than exploit caregivers. We shine a light on the unpaid labor that holds our communities together and insist on recognition and support for this essential work. We redefine what having it all actually means. We reject the myth that we can or should do everything and instead focus on what truly brings us fulfillment and joy. We create space for genuine community care rather than individual heroics. We remember that we are stronger together, that asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. LeAnne shared some powerful transformation stories from her clients that illustrate these ripple effects. And I want to share a few of them with you because they demonstrate the real world impact of this philosophy. There's the story of Kendra, a C-suite executive who had been battling hypertension for years. Her doctor had been pushing her to make lifestyle changes, but she always brushed it off, saying she didn't have time to slow down. After working with LeAnne and implementing serious boundary setting practice, including leaving work at a reasonable hour and not checking emails on weekends, Kendra saw her blood pressure normalize for the first time in a decade, but the changes went beyond her health. Her team's productivity actually increased as they were forced to become more self-reliant and efficient in her absence. Then there's Aisha, a community organizer who was on the verge of walking away from her passion due to burnout. She felt guilty for even considering taking a break, believing that the movement couldn't afford her absence. Through rest practices and reframing her understanding of activism, Aisha not only renewed her commitment to her work, but found her efforts became more strategic and effective. She realized that her constant availability had been enabling unsustainable practices within her organization. By stepping back, she forced important conversations about workload distribution and volunteer burnout that ultimately strengthened the entire movement. And we can't forget Tanya, a single mother entrepreneur who was working 80-hour weeks trying to grow her business while raising her children. She came to LeAnne feeling like a failure on all fronts, not successful enough in her business, not present enough for her kids. By embracing rest and ruthlessly prioritizing her time and energy, Tanya made a shocking discovery. She doubled her business revenue while working fewer hours. Why? Because she was making clearer, more strategic decisions. She was showing up as her best self in client meetings. And perhaps most importantly, she was modeling for her children that success doesn't have to come at the cost of well-being. These stories challenge our deeply held assumptions about what it takes to be successful and make an impact. They show us that rest isn't a luxury, it's a necessity for sustainable success and meaningful change. They prove that when we honor our needs, when we set boundaries and prioritize our well being, we become more effective in every area of our lives. Imagine a world where Black women's strength is not measured by how much suffering we can endure, but by how well we honor our needs. Imagine communities where asking for help is seen as wisdom, not weakness. Imagine workplaces that value sustainable contribution over self-sacrifice. Imagine a society where Black women's rest is seen as sacred, as essential to the health and progress of us all. This future isn't a far-off fantasy. It begins with us giving ourselves permission to rest today, not when we've earned it, not when everything is perfect, but right now, exactly as we are. It starts with small acts of rebellion against a culture that would have us work ourselves into the ground. So I ask you, I challenge you, what if the most disruptive thing you could do today isn't to work harder, achieve more, or give more of yourself away? What if the truly revolutionary act is to close your laptop early, decline that extra commitment, or simply take a nap without guilt? In a world that profits from Black women's exhaustion, choosing rest isn't just self-care. It's a declaration that we will no longer participate in our own exploitation. It states clearly and unequivocally, my worthiness is inherent, not earned through perpetual productivity. As we move through 2025 and beyond, this perspective has the power to not just change individual lives, but to transform how we structure our communities, our workplaces, and ultimately our society. It's not an exaggeration to say that the simple act of a Black woman prioritizing her rest could be the spark that ignites a revolution. LeAnne's work reminds us that rest is not a luxury. For Black women, it's a revolution. And revolutions change everything. I want to acknowledge that this topic can bring up intense emotional responses. It might trigger feelings related to generational trauma, complex family dynamics, and experiences of workplace discrimination. If you're feeling overwhelmed, please be gentle with yourself. Take a deep breath. Remember that your journey towards revolutionary rest is just that, a journey. It's okay to take it one small step at a time. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. Your worth is not measured by your productivity. Your existence is enough. Your joy matters. Your health is non-negotiable. Your peace is essential. Today, I implore you to choose yourself. Choose rest. Choose revolution. Imagine the ripple effects if every Black woman listening right now committed to one act of revolutionary rest this week. Imagine the conversations it would spark, the boundaries it would establish, the example it would set. Imagine the collective power of thousands of Black women saying, my well-being matters and I will prioritize it. This isn't just about individual self-care. This is about collective liberation. When we rest, we resist. When we prioritize our well-being, we challenge systems of oppression. When we set boundaries, we create new possibilities, not just for ourselves, but for our communities and for future generations. So what will your act of revolutionary rest be? Will you say no to that extra project at work? Will you delegate a responsibility you've been carrying alone? Will you schedule an hour of uninterrupted joy this week? Whatever it is, I want you to commit to it right now. Say it out loud, write it down. Share it with a friend who will hold you accountable. Remember, in a world that demands your labor, that tries to extract every ounce of your energy, your rest
is resistance. Your joy is justice. Your peace is power. You are worthy of rest, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. You are deserving of peace, not as a reward for your labor, but as your birthright. You are entitled to joy, not as a luxury, but as a necessity. So go forth and rest unapologetically and revolutionarily. Your well being is non negotiable. Your rest is an act of revolution, and you, just as you are enough. Thank you for listening. Now, go change the world by doing less.